Well, this is our Mevo camera, and it's labeled Mevo camera here. So we're going to open it up. It's a plastic case, and as we open it up, I'm going to describe the elements that we have here. First of all, we have our Mevo camera, which is our wonderful camera that we use for Facebook streaming. It also does recording. On the back, you'll notice it has a USB port, which is for charging. Also here, it has a removable base. Right now, it's in the locked position, but if I switch it to the open position, this base comes apart and it's removable. Then you notice on the back of it, there are some contacts. And this is basically a magnetic seal, so it'll stay on there. But when you remove the base, it exposes the port for the SD card, which is a simple push and pull using a micro SD card. This one happens to be about 16 gigs. And to push it back in, it's kind of a little bit of a pain, but it clicks. So that is the Mevo camera. The second thing you'll notice in this thing is we have a very important external remote charging battery. This is about 10,000 milliamp hours. Very important because the Mevo camera itself only has about 45 minutes of life in the battery life. So our services typically go over an hour, maybe an hour and 15 at times. So this really helps us to extend it. And all you have to do is with one of the USB cables, again, you would simply plug in the USB port side over here to the output and simply plug this into the back of the Mevo camera. And it can actually run, this can run connected to it and acts like a secondary battery storage. So with this connected to it, we actually can go a lot longer. So I'm just going to unplug that. The green means it's fully charged. I'm going to unplug that. But you'll also notice that this particular battery has a little button here that'll help you check the battery life. And 4 lights means it's full and ready to go. Okay. If for some reason this is not ready to go, we also have an external wall charger that we can use. And this you simply plug into the wall. Plug this in there as well. Same thing to the back. And you can run the Mevo camera directly powered to a wall circuit as well. So that's a very important thing. You also have a backup charger, which is the official Mevo charger, but that's fine. In the case, I also have an SD card reader. When you pop the little micro SD, it'll help you plug it into a regular SD format. So that's in there. A couple more things we want to show you. Since the Mevo must be run with an iOS device, an iPad running iOS 9 and higher, I've included in the case a lightning bolt charging cable. There are 2 micro USB cables in there. So in case you go to a setup and there's some time, you can charge both the camera and the battery at the same time, which is really good. And lastly, the last device that we're going to be using most of the time is the iRig 2 device. And what this actually allows us to do, the Mevo camera has a built-in microphone, which is right here, and that gives average audio, and it's actually widespread. What we're going to be doing is if we want to use the audio from our mixing board, which means using our microphones as our input source, we have a lot stronger signal. We need to connect, it can bypass this and use the input audio jack, which is a 3-ring jack on the iPad and most iPhones. And this actually allows us to plug this end into the iPad. We'll get to that. And from here, we can input an output source from our mixer, and which will give us a really nice, clean, and controllable sound, which sounds a lot higher quality. So there's just one more thing I want to show you in here, and that is this little screw. It's weird because it has two sizes. I don't know what size that is. That might be a 1/2 inch, and on the bottom it has a 1/4 inch screw. And what this is useful for, if we want to ever put the Mevo on top of a, well, let's talk about this first. The Mevo bottom has a threaded opening here that we use, and this threaded opening can fit on top of any standard microphone stand. We just remove the microphone holding clip, and for example, I usually do is take this off, screw this onto the microphone, and then place our Mevo, and then our Mevo is now able to stand on a stand. Now, if for some reason we don't have a microphone stand, maybe you have a camera stand or a tripod, and all you simply do, most tripods will have this 1/4 inch connection. You just simply screw this in there. Be careful how tight you go, because it can get stuck, and that's why it has a slotted thing here that you can use a screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver, to get out. But then that'll allow us to screw it on any kind of standard tripod for a video camera. And even other photographic light stands. It has a wider one. So that's what's inside the Mevo box. Again, the camera. And now we'll move on. So that's what's inside the Mevo box. We have an extra cable here. We'll probably remove, but that's that.